Okay, so I'm logged into a Bybit account. And this particular Bybit account has $2,500 in here in my spot wallet. And the account itself has 10K in it. So there's $10,000 in here, and 2,500 of that is sitting in my actual spot wallet, which is interesting, right? If I go over to my derivatives here, I can see that I have $8,690 sitting in this derivatives account. And in the spot wallet, I have $2,000 set aside, so that if anything happens, I can go ahead and bring that money to bear to money manage. Okay. That's how I kind of look at this. We talked about that in the last video. But just keep in mind, so this is what I do. Now, for some of you, you might be like, but Kevin, I don't have extra money to toss in there. Just put less in trades in the beginning, right? And you should never put into trades what you can't afford to lose. So that's the way I look at this. I can afford to lose that money, so I put it into trades. If I can't afford to lose it, then I'm not going to put it in trading. And what I'll end up doing is as it grows and makes me money, I'll pull out some of those profits and keep it as kind of a nest egg right here, just in case I need to bring it to bear. All right. So I'm going to forego some of the compounding effects in the beginning, right? Because carbon's not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a very long time, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So what I'm looking for is to take some of those profits and put them into my spot account, move them out. Oh, I made $1,000. Let me move that out, right? And that way I can take this out if I need to, or bring it to bear to get out of a trade if I need to, okay? So there we go. All right, but let's talk about taking a look. I'm going to take a look around in this derivatives account and take a look around at how leverage works and how this affects things, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to my derivatives and then my USD perpetual, okay? And boom, I'm in this account and I can see that I've got some trades here. Now, quick pro tip, if I got 3 trades on this account when I scroll down, but I can only see 2 of them. So what I'll do is I'll go to the bottom right-hand corner and you see my mouse turn into an arrow down here. I'll click here and I'll just drag this down so I can see what trades are happening on this account. Now, these are longs, so I'm not worried when they go negative and it's not costing me anything to be in them. But I think in this training, we'll go ahead and money manage out a couple of these just so you guys can see how that's done. All right, we'll go ahead and do that together. But for right now, I want to take a look at the leverage and what is happening here, okay? So if I'm looking inside of Carbon and I look at leverage and how it works, what I want to do is I want to kind of like go ahead and change some of these leverages to show you how we do that. But understand, just as a lay of the land, when a trade kind of got pushed on over into Carbon, a couple things happened. One, it was pushed on over an isolated mode. Okay, you'll see these at isolated, isolated, isolated. Now, isolated mode, when we talk about leverage, is a leverage mode that is using what is in the trade to maintain the trade. Now, let me stop there. When I say that, I'm talking about this trade has $1,279 in it, right? So that's how much is in this trade right now. And it's using the money in it to maintain the trade. Meaning, whenever I get in a trade at like 10x leverage or 2x leverage or 5x leverage, what I'm essentially doing is I'm borrowing money to go ahead and get into that trade. Like I'm borrowing the funds to get into that trade in real time. So what is providing the liquidity for that, those borrowed funds, on isolated leverage, okay, isolated margin, is indeed the amount in the trade. This is what's happening here. It's using this money as collateral. That's why if I go and change the leverage on this to 10x leverage, right, or a higher leverage, right now it's at 2.5x. If I change it to 10x leverage, for example, what'll end up happening is the amount of money in the trade will go down simply because I'm buying more. I'm borrowing more money. So if I get into a trade at 100x leverage, it's only going to be taking 1/100th of what I'm actually putting in that trade. And so if I deleverage that down to 1x leverage, that trade size is going to be 100 times more, okay? And that's how the leverage kind of works, right? You're borrowing money in real time. And that's how isolated works. It's using the funds in that trade to fund that trade. Now, on cross leverage, what happens? So if I take this and I double click it, right, and I go change this to cross leverage from 2.5x isolated to cross, what I'm doing, I'll put this on 2.5x, and we'll talk, and don't worry, in the next video, we'll get into all this, adjusting leverage. If I change this to cross, you're going to see this, how much is in this trade change, okay? And you're going to see my liquidation prices change. So I'm going to click on this, okay? And now you see that I'm at cross leverage. The amount in it changed a little bit, right? Not too much, went up a little bit. But my liquidation price is a half of a penny now. The price with which I would lose if I hit it is a half a penny. And the reason why it's at a half a penny now is because I'm now using, okay, this entire balance to maintain that trade. And you might go, whoa, Kevin, that means if you lose this, you can lose all your money. And you would be correct. You could lose all your money, or not all of it, but you could lose a substantial amount of money if it hits that liquidation and uses your available balance. We've seen this in the ZIL liquidation, okay? So this is what's going on here, all right? But I'm not afraid of cross leverage, especially on long trades. On short trades, I'm not a fan. On long trades, I'm not afraid of them at all because I know how low those liquidation prices go, which is something we'll cover in another video. So I'm going to double click on this. I'm just going to put it back to where it was, okay? And I'll show you how we're doing this. Let me confirm this. So this is back to where it was. But that's how leverage kind of works, right? I'm using isolated leverage. And when I'm doing that, I'm using the money in the position, the money that's allocated there, to fund the trade, which would mean that if this price of Luna, for example, went from $80 to $55, I could lose this amount right here. If it was on cross leverage, if it hit the liquidation price, I could lose that amount for the entire balance, right, of the account, potentially. So that's how these two leverages work, right? That's the difference between cross and isolated. What I suggest you do while I'm doing this is I suggest you practice opening up a trade and playing with the leverage, okay, to see what that does to your trade, all right? So we'll discuss that in the next video. We're going to open up a position and go from there, and we're going to explore what that does, okay? So I'll see you in the next one.